Are you finally thinking about hitting the track? Maybe you've started riding recently and feel like you need a safer environment to build your skills. Or perhaps maybe you're an experienced rider who's looking for their next adventure on two wheels. Regardless of why, if you're interested in track days and not quite sure where to start, this is the video for you. One of the first things we're going to be doing is registering for a track day. So first you have to find the ones that are in your area. Depending on where you're at, you may have several organizations to choose from. Choosing the best one, honestly, everybody has their preferences, so I say try them all. Whichever one feels the most friendly to you, or if you ask around your local riding community, who's the best organization to start with, I'm sure you'll get plenty of answers. Some will be helpful, some probably not so much. But either way, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go on the website, we're going to find out how to register, and we're going to get registered. Once you've picked a day and you are heading to the racetrack, our next thing to do is figure out if our bike is ready to go. As long as you signed up for the novice group, or sometimes called the C or D group, depending on the organization, that group should have the least strict requirements for the track day. Every track and organization might have slightly different requirements, and all of those should be able to be found on their website. If you can't find it and you're really struggling to understand what it means, you're welcome to reach out to their support and ask them for help. They should be happy to help you out. But make sure you do your due diligence and check around on the website. Look for those tech requirements. Look for the tech requirements for the group that you are in. And next up, we're going to go get that bike ready. First things, typically, we're going to have to tape over or remove any mirrors. So any glass, headlights, mirrors, etc. does require to be taped and or removed. Usually I would use a blue painter's tape. Peels off very easily. There's several reasons for this, primarily being, number one, you shouldn't be looking in your mirrors, and that's distracting because the racetrack is not the street and we're doing things a little differently here. Number two is, if you were to crash and something unfortunate were to happen, that helps keep that glass from shattering everywhere. So not what we want to hear, but that's the truth of it. Primarily though, for most riders, it's just the simple fact that you shouldn't be looking in the mirrors. You should be looking at where you're going. As far as your riding gear goes, you will need a current helmet and one that is in good condition. It will need to be a full face solid helmet. Usually a modular helmet with the flip up chin is not allowed. So you do have to have a solid chin, full face helmet. Again, make sure you check those org requirements. Depending on the organization, you may be okay in the novice group with a two-piece suit or even two-piece textiles, as long as they fully zip together and are not a mesh material. Again, this varies organization to organization, so definitely read those requirements and make sure you're prepared. Almost always a two-piece leather suit that fully zips together is allowed, and obviously any leather one-piece suits are. That's your ideal. That's what they're made for. They are designed specifically for the sport and at those speeds. But if you don't have a suit, don't let that stop you from getting on the track. Chances are that's not necessarily the investment you need to make right off the bat. A lot of organizations also offer gear rentals, or you may be able to find somebody in a local group who would be willing to loan you a suit to get you through your first track day. Now, if you were to crash and do damages, you'd probably be on the hook, but it'd be the same if it was your own stuff too. And sometimes you can find a used one cheap. It may not fit perfect, but for a first suit, just to get you out there. So now you're signed up, you've checked the boxes on the tech requirements, you have your gear in order, and you're ready to go. Now, when it comes to packing for the trip, this is where a new track day rider versus somebody who's been doing it for a while, probably going to have a little different packing list. On my website, which is linked in the description, I do offer my packing list that I've been using and developed years ago. Basically kind of outlines a lot of things that you just need to remember to bring. I've been known to not use my packing list and show up to the track without any clean underwear. Go figure. Gross. I was washing them in the shower with me. But packing list is a good thing. The one I have is probably a little extensive for what you would necessarily need for your first track day, but it should cover all the highlights, and there's probably some things that you can get by without. For example, I have a spare bolt spin right there. I always bring that, so I have some spare bolts with me if something were to come loose or work its way out. You are going to want some kind of shade. Ideally, like a pop-up canopy, like an easy up style canopy with the 4 legs and the canvas top. Even if you don't have that, you don't want to make that investment, then perhaps just a large umbrella, something where you can sit under some shade. If it's going to be warm, you're probably going to want a fan, some way to cool down. And other than that, it's going to be the basic things that you need for your bike. A way to check and adjust your tire pressures. Some basic tools are always a good idea to have with you just in case. And then gas. So gas cans, gotta have gas cans. Some tracks do have gas stations on site, and you are more than welcome to use those, but not every track does. And some tracks that I've been to are actually quite a ways away from the nearest gas station. So definitely a problem if you forget your gas. So you want to be sure, bring some gas. It's probably cheaper to get it off site anyways, and bring it with you. And then you can get whatever you're used to running in your bike. Beyond that, if you're camping, you're going to need all your camping stuff. You're going to need clothes. You want to wear liners underneath your gear. So long sleeve liners and pants and socks that cover your legs. You are going to sweat. Even if it's pretty cool out, you're going to get sweaty, and that suit is going to glue to your skin. Not literally, but almost literally. I've had and seen people who are quite stuck in their suit because they didn't want to wear underlayer underneath. So I'm a huge fan of the Venom Wear gear. She makes amazing gear. It works really well and it lasts forever. But if you're not ready to make that kind of commitment yet, you can go to Walmart and get the local cheapo athletic long sleeve thin slippery athletic shirt. Go ahead and throw that underneath. Whatever works and whatever's in your budget to start with. You can always make the investment down the road when you decide that the addiction has bit and you're going to be doing this for a while. Now we show up. Honestly, even as somebody who's been going to the track for a while, showing up to a new track can still be a little unnerving. You're not familiar with where you're going. You're not familiar with the paddock and the layout. And if it's your very first track day, all of it is brand new. Again, if there's somebody you know that's going to be there, try and hook up with them, see if they'll help kind of guide you along a little bit, show you where to go, show you the good places to park, that sort of thing. But if you don't have that option, I really hope that doesn't stop you from going. You can always ask at the gate. When you come into any closed course racetrack, generally sign a waiver on your way in. You can always ask the person at the gate, hey, where do I go next? Where do I park? They should be able to give you directions and answer any of those kind of questions that you have as far as if power is available, if you need to pay for any power that you might want to use, that sort of thing. Once you've figured out where you're going, you're going to pull in. You'll probably find other trailers and people generally are going to be there. Unless you're there really early, there's probably going to be some other people there already. And you will simply pick your spot. Generally, you can kind of tell where the rows are going to be based on either where other people are parked, or sometimes some tracks have them actually marked and painted, and you can very easily see where they are. You're going to unpack your stuff. You're going to get your pit set up. So your pit would include your bike. We'll go over some of the common equipment that I would say you should have for your first track day in just a little bit. You get that all unloaded, kind of get yourself settled in. From there, if it's in the morning, then you have to get over to tech and you're going to go through the tech inspection. Generally, they're going to have signs and you'll see other people lined up with their bikes getting ready to go. Some organizations will also request to look at your gear. If you're a first-time track rider and you don't have a lot of the stuff that maybe some of the other people have, it might be easiest just to put your gear on and ride to tech and save yourself an extra trip just in case. But that, again, should all be outlined on the website if you actually read through it. Now you've gotten registered. You've got all your stuff. You've gotten to the track, you've unloaded, and now you are ready to go through the tech. You'll go through, you'll do your registration. Usually there is a sign up. You'll sign the organization's waivers, go through your registration process, and then you'll go through the tech process. In tech, basically what they're just looking for is to make sure that your motorcycle and or your gear is prepared to go out on track. They want to keep you safe and everyone around you safe. So they're going to check for basic maintenance. Are your tires in good condition? Is your bike in good mechanical condition? Is your chain in good condition? Have you recently changed the oil? Is everything torqued down properly? If there are requirements around safety wiring, have those been completed? It should be a very simple inspection if your bike's maintenance is maintained. If you have good brake pads, good chain, everything's adjusted properly, and you actually take care of your bike, heck is usually a breeze. Sometimes they might catch a little something, like maybe your brake pads are getting a little thin, they might comment on it. Quite often there's a trackside vendor who can help you find some common parts if you were to need them. There's almost always a tire vendor if you need tires, that sort of thing. But hopefully you came prepared with your bike ready to go now that you've watched this video and you know what to expect. And you show up with your bike ready to roll right on through tech. So now we've gotten through tech. And next up is going to be the riders meeting. These are generally considered mandatory, even if you've been going to the track for a while. So show up to the riders meeting. They're going to share relevant information. They're going to give you some reminders. This is your first track day. They are going to go over a lot of things that you have probably never heard before. They're going to discuss the different flags and how they communicate with you while you're on track, how you should communicate with other riders while you are on track. You remember, we're not using mirrors and turn signals and horns out here. So how communications happen is very different. And if they have a separate post-group rider meeting specifically for your group, definitely make the time to attend. Do not skip that. They're going to go over very important items for your group, and it is imperative that you understand what the expectations are, what the rules are, where to go, when to go, all of that. You paid to be there, you spent time getting there, you don't want to miss out on important pieces of information that would cause you to lose your precious time on track. So make it to the riders meeting, go to any group meetings. If they offer a classroom, this is your chance to get free education that a lot of us have paid a lot of money to get. If you have an opportunity for a good classroom session and some one-on-one discussions with the coaches, take full advantage of it. These are amazing offerings that people have spent years learning or a lot of money learning or both, and they're giving it to you basically for free. Most of these coaches are not paid to be there, and this is an amazing opportunity for you to pick their brain and learn as much as you can. So bring a notebook, bring a pencil, and go prepared to learn. Once you're through those meetings, now for the fun part. Now we're finally getting out on track. They should have explained to you how your group is operating and where to line up, how to get out to the hot pit area where you will grid up to go out on track. A lot of organizations will do like a lead follow the first session or the first few laps. So this is your opportunity to see this environment. Even if you've been riding on the street for years, riding on the track is definitely a different animal. So pay attention to where you're going, where things are, and if you really are that good of a rider and the group pace is slow and boring and you're bored, this is an opportunity for you to start looking for the nuances in the track and the surface, looking out where those reference points are and building your path around that track. If you're brand new to the track and you're just overwhelmed with the flags and getting on and off the track, pay attention to those things. There's going to be many sessions this day and you'll get to go back out and refresh everything. When it comes to being on track, there's obviously a lot of different riders out there. They are split into different groups to help alleviate differences in pace and experience. If you're new to the track, regardless of your riding experience elsewhere, even if the organization lets you choose your group, it is very important that for your first track day, you sign up for the most beginner group. So that might be called novice, it might be called C or D group. Use that time to learn the track culture, learn how to ride on the track, learn the differences between the track and the street. Even if you are the fast guy on the mountain around where you live, the track is a completely different environment, and a lot of riders are actually going to be pretty different out there as well. If you truly are too fast for that group and you are bored to tears, get a hold of one of the coaches, get a hold of your group leader, let them know, hey, this is below my skill levels. They can evaluate you, and if they agree that you're ready for the next group, they can go ahead and move you up. So don't be afraid to ask. On the flip side of that, looking at some of you B group riders in particular, just kidding, but on the flip side of that, if you do work with a coach and that coach says you're not ready yet, listen to what they have to say. open your ears. They probably have some good reasons that they're not ready to move you up yet. I have experienced this myself. I was at a new to me track and I was out in the advanced group. I had been racing. I'd raced with several organizations by this point, racing for several years, but I was still kind of new to this track, even though I was kind of hanging with other people in the group. One of the instructors pulled me off and told me to bump down because in his mind I wasn't holding the lines as well as he felt I should, and I didn't know the lines as well as I should to be in that group. So I took what he said and I listened. And was I a little upset? Yes. But I went down to the other group, to the group below mine, and spent a couple sessions out there and just really made sure that I cleaned up what he was talking about. And once I did that, I grabbed another coach and got re-evaluated to go back up, which I did at the end of the day, and that was pretty much that. But if you listen to what they're saying, they probably have some valid advice. Even if it's upsetting you in the moment, there's probably some things that you could work on improving. So take that advice, take it to heart, go work on it, and even if it's at the next track day that you get evaluated and bumped up, that's fine. The organization allows you to choose your own group. Generally, the coaches are still going to make sure people are where they belong, but don't go sign up for the fastest group. I don't care if you are Ricky Racer on the local mountain and beating everybody up it. It is a different environment, and some people are going to ride very differently on the track than they do in the street. I consider the track a much safer environment. It's not the same as the street. I know how far I can tumble if I crash at high speeds, whereas on the street, that's off a cliff and into a guardrail. So I don't ride the same on the street. It is not the same environment. The people who are used to riding with me on the street may get a little surprised riding with me on track because it is a different type of riding, and you may experience that with people that you know as well. Throughout the day, while you're riding, a few things you want to keep an eye on. Make sure you stay hydrated. Very, very important to stay hydrated. Water may not be enough. Especially if it's warm out, you're in the south, humid, make sure your hydration also includes electrolytes and that you're getting plenty of electrolytes. This is a very common issue at track days and something that we see repeated a lot where people struggle with the heat and the exertion. Riding a motorcycle at these kind of speeds is a lot of work and it's very exhausting on your body. So definitely hydrate, electrolytes, food. So eat healthy. Don't eat too much. Don't eat a big, huge, heavy lunch that will probably not sit real well in the afternoon. Made that mistake once. And so you still need fuel so that your body can function, but try to keep it light. Protein shakes actually work really great for me at lunch, along with just some smaller snacky type foods. And keep yourself cool. Keep that fan on when it's warm out. If you have AC available, go ahead and climb in the AC to cool down. But make sure that you're keeping good track of where your body is at. Also, keep an eye on your bike. Keep your gas topped off. Give your bike once over every couple sessions. Just make sure everything looks good and nothing is coming loose. Everything is where it should be. Good practice to get into. As you start getting faster and your days start getting a little more intense, it's more likely that these habits that you build now will benefit you down the line. And you can catch things before they become a problem and ruin the rest of your weekend. So we're out there, we're riding, you're having a great time. You grab some lunch from the local food truck or whatever the lunch source is, and it's getting into the afternoon and you're getting tired. You paid for a full day. You can certainly ride every session that you are signed up for all day long. However, if you're getting too tired to ride safely, you're better off just calling it a day. There's nothing wrong with skipping a session or two. Sometimes if the weather's yucky, or I'm just feeling under the weather, or I'm just tired, I'll skip a session, sometimes two in a day. Even if I paid for the full day, I want to maximize the time I'm out there and make sure that I am riding at my peak. And I would recommend that you do the same. If you've finished off your day and you are doing great, you're happy, awesome. I am so happy to have you out here. We love having new riders out at the track and seeing the sport grow. Once you're done riding for the day, then comes what in my opinion is the worst part of an entire track weekend, and that's packing up at the end of it. Everything that you just unpacked and set up a day or two before, we now have to tear all down and repack it all up. If you have pets, clean up after your pets. If you have trash, clean up your trash. Make sure when you are leaving your pit, it looks the way it did when you arrived, or better maybe. So It's normal to be scared. It's normal to feel overwhelmed. I know that doesn't make it less scary or less overwhelming, but know that you are not alone. And please, if you see somebody at the track, you're pitted next to somebody, don't be afraid to say hi. Most people there are going to be pretty friendly, and we love to see new people joining the sport. So I highly recommend that you take the time, say hi to your neighbors, get to know them a little bit, meet some cool people, and come join us on this amazing sport. If there's any topics that you would like to see covered, anything specific to riding or track days that you wish somebody like me could cover, feel free to post in the comments. I will take those all into consideration, add it into my video list for this channel, and we will see you hopefully at the track soon.